Today in college algebra, we moved on to integers and absolute values. So to start out, we're doing some very basic integer practice, which is less than or greater than the other. And one trick to getting it right is to draw a number line. So on number 1, if you draw a number line and put -4 and -1 on that number line, you can see right away that -4 is smaller than -1. So and the problem is -4 less than -1? I would say that's true. So all we're looking for on 1 through 4 is true or false. So if you need to do the number line, do it. If you don't need to, then you can skip it. But I would say -12 is down here, and -11 is bigger than it. But number 2 says -11 is smaller, so that looks like a false. Number 3, same idea. -5 is down here, but -2 is a little bit further up the number line. -5 is not bigger than -2. Number 4 is a touch more difficult because of the decimal. -3. If -2 is here, -2.9 is right there. But -3 is not bigger than that, so I'm going to say false also. Hope that makes sense. All I'm looking for is true or false on those 4. On number 5, we're going to do absolute value. And let me point out on the calculator where that is. So on the calculator, one way is to literally type ABS and then a parenthesis and then -3 or negative whatever or whatever is in the bars. And notice right when I click enter, it defaults to the bars, the absolute value bars. So whatever's inside of the bars comes out as positive. Another way to get absolute value is if you click the book right here, it's the very first function. So there it is. -5 gives me +5. All right. Or if I take the absolute value of a positive, it still gives me a positive. And the reason for that is all this is a distance. Notice the typed words there. The bars mean that it's measuring how far a number is from 0. So -3 is 3 units. Absolute value of 3 is also 3 units. Number 7 is very tricky, and you want to be very careful with it. So first off, it says x is negative right here, right? X is negative. We need to write an answer in terms of x. And many people are tempted to write x. Because of the rule, whatever's in the bars comes out as positive. But before we say x, let's think about this. What if I come up with a real example? If x is negative, then that means x can equal, say, -5, right? Then absolute value of -5 is 5, right? Well, look at what's wrong with writing just x as the answer. If I plug in my example of -5, I get a false statement. Absolute value of -5 is not -5, right? That's false. So the real answer, let's move over here, I'm out of room, is if I plug in -5, I want to get +5. So what if I flip the sign to a -x? -5 equals -5. That is a true statement. That's the answer to number 7 right there. So put an X through that guy. That's not right. That's a tricky one. That's kind of an advanced bonus type of question. All right, number 8. let's experiment. On your calculator, type in 2 minus pi, and you should get negative 1.14. So one possible answer, one acceptable answer is 1.14. Or if you think like back in geometry in terms of pi, I'm okay with you just writing this. Either of those are acceptable. I didn't circle all my answers. There we go. All right, let's try number 9. So number 9, same idea. Type in square root of 3, subtract 1, and you get 0.73. Which then gives you 0.73, or simplest radical form is as is without the bars. I'm okay with either of those answers. But be careful just dropping the bars. If the second number is bigger, like on number 8 or on number 10, those terms flip. So one way to be certain that you got it right is to type it into your calculator. So when I go 1 minus square root of 2, I get negative 0.41, which is positive 41, or square root of 2 minus 1. Either of those are A-okay with me. All right, more algebra-based stuff you're probably ready for that you would expect in algebra class, number 11 and number 12. So maybe hit pause and try and work those out. Be careful with your signs. So here we go. We're going to go 3 minus negative 5, and I get 3 plus 5, which is 8. Careful with that double negative. Number 12, there's a few ways. Absolute value of negative 5, all over 3. I'd say the fast way, you could cross out the 3's, and you're left with 5. You could do that in your head. Another way, you could go 3 times 5 over 3, so you get 15 thirds equals 5. Either way, it's 5. All right, I hope that made sense. I will see y'all later.